Well, alright then. Hello, YouTube. Hello, fans. If I have any left, welcome to another casual vlog. I am once again in my t shirt, just like the last one. I think this is going to be a pattern if I do vlogs because I'm just a relaxed, at home kind of person and I don't get fancy dressed up. Not unless I had like 30 times the viewership. The freaking subs, not even the views. Goddamn. Like if I had 100,000, I might look more professional with a sound wall behind me and all that good stuff. But anyway, the reason I'm vlogging now is because yesterday I saw Detective Pikachu, and I wanted to discuss how I felt about it. I saw it by myself, and I always buy concession food to support the theater. So I had some nachos, and I got there half an hour early, finished the nachos before the movie even started. Yay! That's beside the point. Let's get to the movie. Um, if you've seen the trailer and are curious about the movie is really going to appeal to 12 and under. I mean, a lot. There was a lot of kids there when I saw it, and that was in the morning. That was 10:30 a.m. screening. Okay, um, and the trailer showed some pretty good highlights. It didn't actually spoil a lot of the plot. In fact, I don't think it spoiled any of the plot. Um, so there's that for you. And the trailer, though, did show a lot of the Pokemon they show in the movie. Not all of them, but most of them. And um, for the brief moment you see some of the Pokemon on screen, they look pretty good in the trailer. So if you like the trailer's view, you won't be disappointed with the visuals in the movie itself. I'm not going to really talk about the plot of the movie or spoil it. This is not an in depth review. This is one of those, is it worth seeing? Probably. Will you enjoy it if you're late teens and up? Not as much. Um, it might be worth waiting until it comes to rent or Redbox or something. Um, it'll do well for the younger crowd. Now let's get into just the models, just how the visuals look, because honestly, at the end of the day, that's really the selling point of this movie is the models. Do they look good? And I have to say that I think I'm split on a decision because some of them looked really good, I thought, and some of them I thought looked a little fake. Um, Sometimes when the actors are, let's go back to the visuals. Before we get to the interaction between them, let's look at the visuals. I'm not a Pokemon fawn Pokemon. It rhymes, right? I'm not a Pokemon fan. I don't play the games. I never really have. The only game I actually ever purchased was Pokemon Stadium, and that was for the N64. If you didn't have a hooking cartridge to stick in, you got to play Pokemon at level 50. I found the game to be extremely boring, but some people go, "Oh my god, it was the best thing since sliced bread. You took your Pokemon, put it in there. Oh my god!" And I didn't see the appeal. And then everyone else loves all the Pokemon. They always come out in duels just to sell you more cards. You know, maybe there was a hardware limitation on the Game Boy originally. They had to do blue and red, but other than that, I mean, they did not have to do that continuously, especially when the advanced hardware came out. And I'm just talking about Game Boy Advance, you know, just that one. They didn't have to split that shit up, but they did. They always do that just to sell more. And so, um, I'm not a fan. So when I looked at the visuals of the Pokemon, I was being a little critical, which is probably what you need. You can't look at it through the lens of nostalgia. And some of the Pokemon look pretty good. I'm not familiar with them, but I think they're called Vilps, the little fluffy dog-like ones with the huge tails. They kind of look like they have the head of a rodent in a way, but they have this big fluffy dog-like body. Um, they actually looked pretty good. They looked like they were real creatures you could cuddle with. A lot of fluff, and the fluff was rendered pretty damn good. And that's what I have to give the movie credit for. It had a huge budget and a talented crew, so some of these things, especially the fur on the fluffy one, looked great. And when you get to the short furred ones like Pikachu, it doesn't look as good. Now, some of them don't have fur. Like mine, you saw him in the trailer. A Magikarp is in there who evolves. The ones that don't have fur at all, like Magikarp, I don't know. They looked a little bit too slick, a little bit too much like glass. Maybe that's just because it had water all over it. Um, and Pikachu, who has very short fur, like a short-haired cat, all over its body, I felt like that fur, while it looked good, I felt like it actually looked like a plushie, big stuffed animal. I didn't feel like it looked like real fur. I mean, a stuffed animal can actually have real fur as its stuffed outer coating, but most of the time it's just a velvet kind of carpety material, right? Um, so I didn't see his fur as real fur. I saw it as a stuffed animal. It didn't take me out of the immersion or break my suspension of disbelief too much, but I thought it looked like the fur on the Cat in the Hat with Michael Myers, not Michael Myers. Yeah, the Cat in the Hat. That's with Austin Powers guy. Yeah, it's Michael Myers, right? Wayne's World, right? Wayne. I keep thinking Michael Myers. I keep thinking Halloween, and I'm probably saying his name wrong because I think that was the villain. Yeah, it was. Uh, well, whatever his name is. I'm forgetting things. I am old. What can I say? Um, anyway, so it looked like that kind of fur, where his suit, his Cat in the Hat suit, kind of looked like a suit. So it looked like Pikachu was a thing in a suit, and it looked like Psyduck was a thing in a suit. Um, Tangible, something you can touch, but not an animal with small, pelty fur. So I didn't quite like that. And Magikarp, again, who has no fur, it looked a little too glassy to be water, I thought. That's just me, though. Um, Now let's get into the interactions they have between the Pokemon and the humans when there's actual contact, when there's actual touching, when they're holding them. I felt like the Pokemon had no weight to them, and that's bad. I think the actor should have had props that had weight. I think Pikachu should have had the weight of about 4 watermelons, maybe. That would make sense. Because of his size, he's about the size of a fat, 2 to 4 fat bulldogs, right? Small bulldogs. Like, actually, bulldogs can be kind of big in a way, but if you look at a pug and take 4 pugs, that's kind of the size of Pikachu. So you'd think he'd weigh like that, and that would probably be what? How heavy is the goddamn pug? 20 pounds at best? At best. So Pikachu feels like he should weigh anywhere between 50 and 80 pounds. Yeah, and a watermelon could be that, same weight. So he didn't feel like he weighed anything. Now, again, I will stress that it did feel like the actors were touching something physical when they handled him, but it just didn't feel like he had any weight. Kind of like the original Hulk movie. And I'm not talking about the Incredible Hulk. I'm talking about Hulk, which is one that I actually liked over Incredible Hulk for a while. It was a guilty pleasure for me because I just kind of liked it, especially at the end when it looked like there was like Clash of the Titans kind of battle going on. Um, it's just now that I look back at it with a critical eye, because I saw it when I was younger. Yes, Hulk actually isn't rendered with a lot of muscle mass and definition. His skin is more smooth instead of rippling with muscle and vein. And you look at him and you think, okay, he looks a little weightless for his size. He doesn't look like he weighs nothing, but he really does look like he's not putting a lot of stress in the environment when someone that big is weighing it down with his own mass. And that's what it felt like the big Pokemon didn't have. They didn't have mass. Psyduck didn't look like he had any mass when she was holding him on her back, and Pikachu, when he climbs up the guy onto his shoulder, it really didn't look like he was straining to hold this thing. Like, it just looked like he was there. Like someone just duct tapes this stuffed watermelon. And I don't mean like a real watermelon. I mean like an actual plushie of a watermelon right there. And when he picks him up, yeah, fine, you can see the contact. At least they did a good job pretending if there wasn't anything there. But there's no weight. So Pokemon don't have any weight. You don't get a lot of that. And I really wish the actors just had something heavier to hold. And so that's the interaction you have. The physical view models of them. The fur looked great. Short fur didn't look so great. No fur looked a little too fake. But each one of them did have the right coloration. Shadows looked good on them. It didn't look like they didn't belong in that world. It didn't look like they were photoshopped in. So they did a pretty good job on that, at least from my perspective. For you computer animators, you can tell me how it looked. And I don't mind that. So you've got that, you've got their interaction. Now, as far as the plot goes, I won't spoil it really. But it's kind of predictable. Right when the third act starts, I kind of saw the what a twist ending. I really did. I was like, okay, I think I know what's coming. Right when the third act started. I'll stress that because up till that point, yeah, I didn't really see it, but had a small suspicion of something was different. But and then I was like, okay, I see it. So you won't really be surprised when it comes. It's a decent little story, though. I'll give you that. And so it's okay to take your kids to it. It's okay to take your younger sibling to see it. And I think they'll enjoy it. And for you longtime Pokemon fans, I think you'll enjoy it for its visuals. You won't really get involved with the plot because it's not really that deep. I mean, it drives the story, but I'm just a bit of a cynic when it comes to movie plots. But I'm not a critic. It's not my job. Anyway, so that's really all I have to say about the Pokemon movie. Except for I don't understand the evolutionary process, and I don't think even the movie does. In the game, feed them a gem, done. They fucking evolve. But and that's the simplest way to put it. Don't criticize me. Yeah. But in the movie, I really don't understand how they evolve. And I really don't think most people do either. Like some people are like, oh yeah, it's going to evolve. The stress environment, oh, he's going to do something. And I'm thinking, how do you know that? How do you figure? Anyway, and do they eat Pokemon? Like, are Pokemon food as well? Like, Magikarp looked delicious. Like, you could just stop the head off and just fillet that thing. I'm not even a fish fan. I mean, I was thinking, that's a meaty fish. So do they eat Pokemon? Like, because apparently Pokemon are sentient. You know, they know they exist. So that might be akin to murder in a way. And if they don't kill them, then they're going to overpopulate the world. So you have to curb population somehow. Especially when there's hundreds and hundreds of the fucking things. And I didn't think, as far as the plot goes, one final thing, I didn't think there was any payoff for some minor tangential plot elements where you have secondary plots. I'm not going to spoil what it was, but the giant Pokemon you see, there was no payoff to that. You get teased that there was a growth thing. You're like, okay, these things maybe. When you see the giant Pokemon, they show up and then they just go back to sleep or something, and then you're thinking, this could have been something really dangerous to the world, and they probably should kill these things. But nope, nothing happens. Like, how do those things fucking eat? They would just devour the environment. Something that big, like Titan-sized things, would seriously destroy ecosystems to eat, to find enough food. And there could have been, hell, that could have been the plot of the movie. You know, again, if I keep talking about it, I'm going to spoil too much, and I probably already did, but that could have been the plot, and I would have been happy with that. The dangers of species and the inability to curb them, or out of proportion, you know, when things get out of proportion. Humanity's already suffering this on the globe. What if all cows could talk to you? What if all sheep could talk to you? It would be the same principle. Like, do we kill them knowing that they can understand us and we can understand them more or less, you know? If we tell them, you know, to go shit over there by the tree, they're going to go shit over there by the tree because they understand what we're talking about. If they're sentient, is it right to kill them? And I would say, you know, probably yes, because, you know, humans, and we're hungry, and we got to eat, and they can't just keep breeding. But, you know, I'm just looking at it from a pragmatic standpoint. You got to look at the future, right? There's no payoff to the secondary plot. The twist I saw coming, there's actually kind of two twists, but I basically saw both of them. So anyway, that's kind of my take on the movie. Take that as you will. I just wanted to talk about it for a second. Anyway, see you guys later.